Hello listeners, welcome back to Luke's English Podcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I'm okay, thanks for asking. Even if you didn't ask, I'm going to tell you how I am. I'm doing all right, recovering from a slight cold, but doing great. The sky is partially blue with a little bit of cloud cover, but it's sunny. It's the month of May. It's my favourite month of the year. And I'm doing a new episode of the podcast. So join me. Let's go. Let's do this. So this episode is all about jokes. I'm returning to the subject of jokes, or at least returning to the idea of telling jokes and then explaining them. Dissecting the frog. I'll be dissecting the frog again on the podcast. It's been a while since I did this, but it's time to do it again. If you don't know what I mean when I'm talking about dissecting the frog, just keep listening. Everything will be made clear and will be explained for you. Okay? All right. I think it's time to start reading from my notes, and you'll find these notes on the page for this episode on my website if you'd like to read along. But really, the notes are just for the first couple of minutes of the episode. All right? Now, this should just be a bit of fun. That's the idea. Ha ha ha, right? Just a bit of a laugh. That's the general idea. So please, let's not take everything too seriously today. All right? That's not the idea today. It's just let's relax and have a bit of a laugh and learn some English in the process. All right? The thing about jokes is often they contain double meanings, don't they? They rely on words that have two meanings at the same time, or words or phrases that sound like something else. So that's quite interesting to explore from a kind of English learning point of view. You end up learning, homophones, words that sound the same but are different. Words with double meanings. Just those moments where English sort of seems to cross over itself, causing amusing, unexpected consequences. I don't mean to build it up too much because the jokes in this episode might be completely terrible. They might be really bad dad jokes. Dad jokes are the sorts of terrible jokes that your dad would tell, on holiday or driving in the car or something. We call them dad jokes. All right, so let's go. I'm going to start reading from my notes now. Here we go. So, country jokes. Learn English with humour. In this episode, we're going to read some jokes about different countries in the world, of course, and I'm going to use them to help you learn English. They're not really jokes about countries. They're mainly just jokes based on the country names or certain sort of common things that we think we know about countries. So I won't be making fun of specific countries or anything. That's not the idea. So hopefully this won't be controversial. It's mainly going to be just like word jokes and things. So I found a list of 100 jokes based on countries. Jokes like these. So here's a sample. This is joke number 6. Ready? What's the best thing about Switzerland? What's the best thing about Switzerland? Well, I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. And at this point, tumbleweed, as everyone's like, what? I don't get it. That might be your reaction throughout this episode. It might just be kind of like I don't get it. What is this, British humour? Well, there's probably something you've misunderstood if you don't notice or don't realise what's going on, which is very difficult in another language, noticing what's funny, understanding it immediately, and then, having that instant reaction, which is called laughter, or at least a kind of, or something. So let me explain this. What's the best thing about Switzerland? I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. So it's this expression, if something is a big plus, if something is a plus, it means it's a kind of a good point. Okay? For example, what's the best thing about living in Paris? Well, I don't know really, but the food is a plus. Right? Meaning the food is one of the good things. Right? What's the best thing? What's good about this car? Well, it's not the most kind of glamorous, sexy looking car, but it does a lot of miles to the gallon, and that's a big plus if you're trying to save money, right? So that expression, it's a plus, just means it's a kind of a good point. Like plus, like the mathematical symbol of plus, meaning a positive point. And then here's a picture of the Swiss flag, and it is a big plus. It's literally a big white plus on a red background. So, there's the joke. What's the best thing about Switzerland? I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. Like, it's literally just a big white plus on a red background. All right. And number 12, joke number 12 from the list is this. Which country's capital is growing the fastest? Which country's capital is growing the fastest? The answer is Ireland, because every day it's doubling. Every day it's doubling and doubling and doubling. So Dublin is the name of the capital city of Ireland, as you well know. But it sounds a bit like the word doubling, right? To doubling. Right. If something doubles, it means it increases in size by 100%, right? For example, if it starts out as this big and it doubles, then it becomes twice as big, right? So it's doubling. All right. Which country's capital city is growing the fastest? Ireland, because every day it's doubling and doubling and doubling. All right. And number 14, this absolute classic. What do you call a bee that lives in America? A USB. Yes. This is the level, okay? This is the level for this episode. I mean, I don't mean the language level, but I just mean the level of humour. What do you call a bee that lives in America? A USB. That is a pretty terrible joke because, I mean, it's quite fun, it's quite fun. It doesn't really work on both levels. But anyway, a bee is obviously an insect, a flying insect. They are typically yellow and black, and they make honey, right? They just make honey for us, which is very nice of them. So a bee that lives in America, a USB. US, of course, meaning United States. A USB, yeah. But obviously a USB, like a USB cable, has absolutely nothing in connection with a bee. It's just a funny little wordplay. Let's not think about these things too much. So some of these jokes are very stupid, as you've noticed. Some of them are terrible, but some of them are actually pretty funny. So this is all just a bit of fun, but also it's a chance to learn some vocabulary. Okay, now before we continue, because we're going to be doing jokes about different countries, before we continue, I need to make several jokes about my country. That's the UK. The UK, that means the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, to give it its full title, which is an incredibly long title for such a small country, isn't it, really? So I need to make several jokes about my country, the UK, just so I can show that, I'm not just making fun of other countries or the names of other countries, that I'm more than prepared to have a pop at the UK as well. Always. This is typically English humour or British humour, that we do self-deprecate. We make fun of ourselves. And that's a generally considered to be a very positive thing, to make fun of yourself. Anyway, so the UK, here's a map of the UK for you. And for audio listeners, you can see a map of Britain, and you can't see it, but it's just there under that huge rainstorm. So we've got a picture of the United Kingdom, but there's a huge storm of clouds over the top. Just a typical map of the UK. More specifically, England, which is where I'm from. I'm from the West Midlands and I'm from West London, those two places, if it's possible to be from two places at the same time. But this is the United Kingdom, which, as you well know, is made up of 4 countries united together. There's England, there's Scotland, there's Wales, and there's Northern Ireland, right? This is the United Kingdom. Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, is nothing to do with it, of course. That's a completely independent country, part of the European Union. But anyway, the UK, specifically England, where I'm from. Football, here's a football joke. What do you call an Englishman in the World Cup final? What do you call an Englishman in the World Cup final? The referee. Yeah. Because if an Englishman has managed to get to the World Cup final, is probably because he is one of the referees rather than one of the players. But who knows? Maybe we're going to turn that round next time. We'll see if we can just deal with the penalty situation, which we can't, let's face it. British food. I mean, I have to do something about British food. I live away from the United Kingdom. I live in France, for goodness sake. And also, as an English teacher, I've met many, many, many people from around the world. And people always, for some reason, have to tell me about my food, about the food in Britain. I meet someone and they say, oh yeah, I went to London. Oh yeah, great. What did you think of it? Oh, it was great. I wasn't sure about the food. All right, fine. Thanks for the TripAdvisor review for my country. People always have to say that to me. British food. It's like a joke, international joke, basically. So living in France, you can get some English food. For example, you can get some English biscuits. I say English biscuits, more like Scottish biscuits, really. McVitie's chocolate digestives, the best biscuits in the world. You can buy them in supermarkets in France, and they advertise them as well sometimes. But this is how they advertise our biscuits in France, with things like this. You can see a box of McVitie's digestives. It says, c'est anglais, mais c'est bon. Which means it's English, but it's good. Cheeky bastards. Actually, they're Scottish. McVitie's, it's Scottish, isn't it? And in fact, actually, the company McVitie's is owned by a Turkish confectionery conglomerate. So actually, they're Turkish, but they're good. Now, also, I'm sure you could write plenty of jokes about our royal family in the UK. But you don't really need to, do you? You don't really need to make up jokes about them. And the subtext of this is that they're already quite funny, aren't they? Yeah, okay. Now, I don't mean to be rude about our king, of course. But apparently he has a sense of humour, so I'm sure he doesn't mind. Cheers. Cheers, Charles. Okay. Now, can you understand these jokes? We're going to start going through the list in a second. If you understand a joke, when someone tells you a joke, if you understand the joke, you can say, I get it. You might say, I don't think it's funny, but I get it. If I get it means that you understand it, right? So if I say, what's the best thing about Switzerland? And you go, I don't know. And I say, well, the flag is a big plus. And you go, huh? Sorry, I don't get it. Or, yeah, I get it, but it's just not very funny, really, to be honest. If you don't understand why it's supposed to be funny, you'd say, I don't get it. So if there's one thing you learn from this episode, it's this phrase, I don't get it. Okay, if you understand it, but you think it isn't funny, you can just groan and just go, oh, God, like that. Okay? Or, alternatively, just have a laugh, just have a little laugh. Now, there will be vocabulary. We've already had the expression a big plus or a plus point, meaning a positive thing. There will be vocabulary. I will explain every joke that you hear in this episode, including any double meanings, any homophones, that's words which sound the same but which are different, or any other little cultural details. Now, I've only had a very quick look at this list of jokes. I've just had a quick look at maybe the first 10, 15 jokes. I found this joke list on the website boredpanda.com. There are 100 jokes in the list, but I've only seen about the first 15 jokes. I haven't seen the rest. So I'm going to be reading most of these for the very first time. So let's discover these, no doubt, amazing jokes together. A disclaimer, this might not be funny at all. So it's necessary to say this again. Here's the bit about the frog. Here's this famous quote. Analysing comedy is like dissecting a frog. Nobody laughs and the frog dies. Right? Analysing jokes is like dissecting a frog. Nobody laughs, or at least analysing jokes is like, explaining jokes is like dissecting a frog. You might learn something from it, but the frog dies in the process. So I will dissect these jokes. You might learn some English, but the jokes will probably die in the process. Sorry jokes, and sorry frogs as well. But don't worry, no actual frogs will be harmed during the making of this episode, I promise. And when I say frogs, I'm not talking about French people, because that is what we call the French. We call them frogs. Dissecting the frog, by the way, or explaining jokes is something I've been doing on this podcast for years. Here is if you look at the website page for this episode, you'll see a piece of art that was done by one of my listeners called Evgenia, which is a picture of me dissecting a frog. Not because I'm going to eat it. Like, I posted this on social media and it's like, oh, look, one of my listeners sent a picture of me dissecting the frog. And people commenting about how I'm, what the taste of the frog will be. I'm not going to eat the frog. I'm dissecting it, not eating it. Anyway. Also, there's a t-shirt available in my merch store designed by a listener called Adele. And it's a picture of me dissecting a frog while doing the podcast with various ninjas in the background. And you can get that design, by the way. You'll find a link in the description. And look, actually, I've got one here. I've actually got one in my pod room as we speak. Look, here it actually is. Obviously, audio listeners, you can't see this, but there is the real thing. You know what? I should probably put this on, shouldn't I? Okay, I'm going to put that on now. All right, let's do that. With the magic of editing, I'm going to do that right now. Okay, there we go. It's now on. So I'm fully prepared, and I know what you're thinking. Right, get on with it, Luke. Okay, I will now get on with it. So, 100 country jokes to kindle your wanderlust from Bored Panda. I need to explain that. To kindle your wanderlust. Wanderlust is like a desire to travel. Okay, if you have wanderlust, it means you really want to travel. Want to go and visit other countries. That's what wanderlust is, the desire to travel. To kindle your wanderlust is essentially to kind of like spark your wanderlust or ignite your wanderlust. Kindle, obviously, we everyone knows the Amazon Kindle, which is a book, like an electronic book reader thing, tablet thingy. But actually, the word kindle is a verb, and it means to start a fire, right? Just to get a fire started with little bits of wood. So to start a fire, or in this case, to kindle other things. You don't just kindle fire, but you can kindle wanderlust in this case, the desire to wander and travel. So let's keep reading jokes. What I'm going to, of the 100 jokes, I'm not sure I'll do all of them, but what I'm going to do is just keep reading jokes until nobody can take it anymore. Until we're like, no, God, stop with these terrible dad jokes. That's enough. What I'll do is I'll tell about 5 jokes and then I'll go back and explain them. And then I'll continue with more jokes and we'll keep going until, as I said, nobody can take it anymore when you just can't bear it any longer. All right? So if I click on this, it'll take me to that page. Okay, 100 funny jokes to kindle your wanderlust. Country jokes. All right, let's scroll through. Here we go. Number 1. England doesn't have a kidney bank, but it does have a Liverpool. England doesn't have a kidney bank, but it does have a Liverpool. I'll explain these things, don't worry. Right, number 2. A slice of apple pie is $2.50 in Jamaica and $3 in the Bahamas. These are the pie rates of the Caribbean. That's the second most popular joke in this list. It does not bode well for the rest of the list. A slice of apple pie is $2.50 in Jamaica and $3 in the Bahamas. These are the pie rates of the Caribbean. Okay. Number 3. A British man is visiting Australia. The customs agent asks him, "Do you have a criminal record?" And the British man replies, "I didn't think you needed one to get into Australia anymore." "Do you have a criminal record?" said the customs agent in Australia to the British man. And the British man said, "I didn't think you needed one to get into Australia anymore." Number 4. One day Canada will rule the world. Then you'll all be sorry. One day Canada will rule the world. Then you'll all be sorry. And then number 5 is, what's the best thing about Switzerland? Well, I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. All right, we've done that one. Let's go through those. How are you doing, listeners? What do you think so far? England doesn't have a kidney bank, but it does have a liver pool. Okay, a kidney bank would be a place where you can get kidneys, replacement kidneys. For example, if someone needs a kidney transplant, right, you've got kidney failure. Your kidneys are those 2 organs which regulate, they kind of like clean your body. They clean your blood, don't they? Right? And so kidneys, yeah, sometimes it's quite common for kidneys to fail, to have problems, and to need them to be replaced. In which case, the doctor would need to go to the kidney bank to get a replacement kidney for the transplant. That's a kidney bank. So England doesn't have a kidney bank. I think it does, actually, but England doesn't have a kidney bank, but it does have a Liverpool. So obviously Liverpool, here's the joke. Liverpool is a city in the northwest of England, of course. But the name Liverpool, so liver is another organ in your body. The liver is responsible for, I guess, like creating new blood. Is this right? I'm not a doctor. I'm an English teacher, but you know. So the liver is a very large organ. There's only one of them. And it's responsible for, like, I guess, blood production. Very, very important organ in the body. It's the liver. So England doesn't have a kidney bank, but it does have a liver pool. A liver pool, I mean, there's no such thing as a liver pool, a pool of liver. But it, you know, technically, if it's similar to a kidney bank, it would be a place where you can go to get a new liver. A liver pool. It doesn't have a kidney bank, but it does have a liver pool. All right. Okay. Moving on. A slice of apple pie is $2.50 in Jamaica and $3 in the Bahamas. These are the pirates of the Caribbean. Well, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? The pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates. The rates, the price rates of pie. But yeah, the pirates of the Caribbean. All right. Number 3, a British man is visiting Australia. The customs agent asks him, do you have a criminal record? The British man replies, I didn't think you needed one to get into Australia anymore. So this is a sort of a Britain versus Australia joke. And because the idea is that way back in the past, Australia used to be a prison colony for Britain, for the British Empire. So a lot of criminals were sent to Australia as a punishment. Okay, so... But now, flash forward to the future, the customs agent is saying, do you have a criminal record? Because basically, if you have a criminal record, maybe we won't let you into the country. And the British man is going, I didn't think you needed one to get into Australia anymore. Okay. Number 4, one day Canada will rule the world, then you'll all be sorry. So this is sort of based on the idea that Canadians are very polite and often say sorry a lot. Certainly compared to, well, yeah, that's the joke. Basically, Canadians are well known internationally for being very, very, very polite and saying sorry a lot. A bit like the Brits. I mean, we say sorry quite a lot too. But this is a kind of well-known cliche of life in Canada that people often say sorry and other polite things like that. So one day Canada will rule the world, then you'll all be sorry, like, because you'll be Canadian and then everyone will be saying sorry. Yeah. Okay. The best thing about Switzerland, the flag is a big plus. I've done that one. Let's keep going. Okay, let's do another 5 to 10 jokes now. So why do the French eat snails? Why do the French eat snails? Because they don't like fast food. Number 7. Amsterdam is a lot like the Tour de France. Amsterdam is a lot like the Tour de France. Just a lot of people on drugs riding bikes. Okay. Number 8. I asked my friend in North Korea how he was. He said he can't complain. Number 9. Germany and France go to war. Who loses? Belgium. Number 10. What do you call a vegan Viking? What do you call a vegan Viking? A Norwegian, of course. Let's do another few. Number 11. How do you get a Canadian to apologise? How do you get a Canadian to apologise? Just step on their foot. You see? Number 12. Which country's capital is growing the fastest? We've done this one. Ireland, because every day it's Dublin. Yes. Number 13. What does the Loch Ness Monster eat? What does the Loch Ness Monster eat? The answer, fish and chips. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, number 14. Do you want to hear a Swedish joke? Here's a Swedish joke. Do you want to hear a Swedish joke? No? Never mind. There's no way I could finish it. Oh, Lord God. And Robert Trebor wrote in the comments, I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Oh, gosh. Okay, moving on to number 15. What do frogs eat in Paris? What do frogs eat in Paris? French flies. French flies. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's a bit of a mixed bag, isn't it? A mixed bag where some of them are quite good, but then some of them are not very good at all. So let's go back to number 6 and I'll explain them as I go. Why do the French eat snails? Because they don't like fast food. Well, this is pretty clear. Not bad, actually. The French don't like fast food, which is, quite true. Fast food in France is generally sort of frowned upon, people don't really think it's that great. So why do the French eat snails? Because the French do eat snails, although not that much. I mean, I almost never see people here eating snails. It almost never happens. I've only eaten snails a couple of times myself, so it's not like people are constantly eating snails or frogs' legs here. But anyway, why do the French eat snails? Because they don't like fast food. Snails are these, are they mollusks? That there's like a soft body with eyes on little stalks, and they carry their shell around on top of them. And if they get sort of threatened by something, they just reduce back into their shell. So that's a snail. Right. And the thing about snails, of course, is that they're very slow, aren't they? They kind of slowly what do? Slither along, leaving a little silver trail behind them. They slither along very slowly. That's snails. So, yeah, why do the French eat snails? They don't like fast food. Yeah, all right. Makes sense. Number 7 is quite fun. Amsterdam is a lot like the Tour de France, just a lot of people on drugs riding bikes. So Amsterdam, of course, this city in the Netherlands where famously cannabis is legal, right? And so there are coffee shops and stuff where you can go and buy cannabis and smoke it. I think so. I think I don't know. I don't know the exact rules, but basically it is a place where people can go and smoke weed, right, legally. Also, another thing about Amsterdam it's famous for is bicycles, right? There are just loads of bicycles there. Canals, bicycles, coffee shops, and there's a lot more to Amsterdam than those things. But anyway, those are some of the things that people always think of when they think of Amsterdam. So there are lots of bicycles. It's kind of a culture of riding bikes. The country is generally quite flat, which makes it quite convenient for riding bikes. So loads of people ride on bikes in Amsterdam. So Amsterdam's like the Tour de France. The Tour de France is a well-known cycling race in which the cyclists go on a big tour around France. They even visit England as well. It's a big, high-profile cycling race. And there have been a number of different controversial moments in this competition where people have been busted for doping, just like the Olympics. Right, so people have been busted for using performance-enhancing drugs. A lot of the cyclists, in fact, have been accused or found guilty of using these sorts of performance-aiding drugs. So, yeah, there you go. Amsterdam is a lot like the Tour de France, just a lot of people on drugs riding bikes. Number 8. Oh, this one's harsh. This one's pretty harsh. Did you get number 8? I asked my friend in North Korea how he was. How are you? He said he can't complain. So, all right, maybe shouldn't be laughing at that. But so let's see. First of all, that is a common response in the UK to, hi, how are you? Oh, you know, can't complain. It just means I'm fine. Or it means, it's just one of those typical things that people say in response to how are you? We've got, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? Not bad. How are you? Pretty good. How are you? Well, I can't complain. Which means things are not great, but, you know, with perspective, I shouldn't really complain about like things that are annoying me. I should be more positive. So it's a way of saying, things are not perfect, but you know what? It's not that bad. Not too bad. I can't complain. Fairly typical way that we respond to how are you in the UK, right? How are you? Oh, can't complain. But in North Korea, because of the conditions in which most ordinary people live, where their freedoms have been taken away by this sort of authoritarian regime that's in place, literally the people can't complain. They're not allowed to complain. They have no recourse for complaining, and if they do complain, well, that might not go very well for them. So they literally, their freedoms have been taken away to the extent that they literally can't complain about their situation. Yeah. So I asked my friend in North Korea how it was. Oh, I can't complain. Number 9, Germany and France go to war. Who loses? Belgium. Yeah, well, you just have to look into, look at the history books to understand this joke, that whenever France and Germany fight, it's normally Belgium that suffers, because it's like Belgium becomes a sort of corridor through which Germany invades France, or some version of that they always end up going through Belgium. So it's the poor Belgians are the ones who suffer in the event of like a big war between these big nations, like in the First and Second World Wars. Number 10, what do you call a vegan Viking? A Norwegian. Rather than a Norwegian, Norwegian is what we'd say, call a person from Norway. And that's obviously where the Vikings came from, right? Norway. So a vegan Viking, a vegan, that's someone who doesn't eat any animal-derived foods. What do you call a vegan Viking? A Norwegian. Yeah, okay. Number 11, how do you get a Canadian to apologise? Just step on their foot. So there you go. There's that cliche about the Canadians again being excessively apologetic and polite, that if you step on a Canadian's foot, they will apologise to you, which is a joke I've made about the UK before, because we're kind of similar as well. Number 12, which country's capital is growing the fastest? Yeah, Ireland, because every day it's Dublin. Yeah, we've had that one. Number 13, what does the Loch Ness Monster eat? Do you know what the Loch Ness Monster is? The Loch Ness Monster is, it's one of those sort of like myths or legends, which hasn't really been proven yet, like Bigfoot, So the Loch Ness Monster is, they say that in a big lake in Scotland, the lake is called Loch Ness. Loch is the Scottish word for a lake. So there's this huge lake up in Scotland, very deep lake, and there have been various witness sightings and accounts of people seeing a large monster living in the lake. Something like one of those dinosaurs that swam in the water, like a plesiosaur or something. You'd be like, I bet you're pleased you saw that. Okay, there's a joke in there somewhere. Anyway, a plesiosaur is a form of dinosaur that lived in the water, and some people say that there's one living in this lake in Scotland, and they call it the Loch Ness Monster. So what does the Loch Ness Monster eat? Fish and ships. Not fish and chips, but fish and ships, meaning ships, those boats that might go on the lake. Although, to be fair, the Loch Ness Monster has never eaten a ship. But still, fish and ships. There you go. Not fish and chips, but fish and ships. Number 14. Do you want to hear a Swedish joke? Never mind. There's no way I could finish it. Norway, the meaning there's no way I could finish it. But instead of no way, it's Norway, which is obviously another Scandinavian country next to Sweden. There's no way I could finish it. Finish is the adjective for Finland. Not the best joke in the world. Number 15. What do frogs eat in Paris? French flies. All right. French flies. Flies, like those insects. Not bees, but flies are arguably more annoying than bees because they're little black things that fly around and just come into your room in the summertime and then just pointlessly fly in triangles in the middle of the room. What's the purpose? What's the point of flies? I don't know. They're just, there they are, flying around in triangles, or they come into your room and then they spend the rest of the day banging their head against the glass when there's an open window just here. And then bam, 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 they whack their head on the glass until they die eventually, even though the open window is right there. I mean, these are not animals that were designed to live in harmony with humans, let's say. But there they are, flying in triangles in the middle of the room. Why do they do that? I mean, maybe that's the purpose of flies, is to make triangles. And if it wasn't for flies doing this, that we just wouldn't have any triangles, So we can thank the flies for making triangles for us. Anyway, flies, that's flies, right? And frogs, as we know, eat flies, don't they? They've got that tongue that comes out and they eat flies. So what do frogs eat in Paris? Well, of course, French flies. Not French fries. No, French flies. So clever, isn't it? So let's move on to the next section of jokes. As I said before, we're just going to keep on going until nobody can take it anymore. And I might recap. I should probably do a little vocab recap afterwards as well. Number 16. An Englishman, a Scotsman and an Irishman enter a bar. The Englishman wanted to go, so they all had to leave. All right. An Englishman and a Scotsman and an Irishman enter a bar. The Englishman wanted to go, so they all had to leave. Where's the Welshman in this? I don't know. All right, I'll explain it in a minute. Here's number 17 again. What do you call a bee that lives in America? A US bee. Why haven't Americans changed their weighing method from pounds to kilograms? Because they don't want mass confusion. So we know that in the United States they still use imperial measurements like pounds and ounces, whereas let's say in Europe people are using the metric system, kilograms, grams and kilograms. So why haven't Americans changed their weighing method from pounds to kilograms? Because they don't want mass confusion. Okay. Number 19. How does every Russian joke start? Oh, God. Oh, God. How does every Russian joke start? By looking over your shoulder. It's going to be controversial. Number 20. Oh, God, another one. I have a Russian friend who's a sound technician. And a Czech one, too. A Czech one, too. I like that joke. I like that one a lot. I have a Russian friend who is a sound technician. Right, he works with microphones and stuff. I have a Russian friend who's a sound technician. And a Czech one too. A Czech one too. Very good. Number 21. What kind of birds can you find in Portugal? The answer, Portuguese. What kind of birds can you find in Portugal? Portuguese. How are you doing, listeners? Are you managing to understand these jokes? How's it going for you? Let me know in the comment section. Which joke do you prefer? Which is your favourite joke in this list? And to what extent do you understand what the hell is going on in this episode? Are you able to follow these things? Are my explanations helping you to understand them? If you understand it after I've explained it, it's probably not funny anymore. But anyway, you can let me know in the comments section. What kind of birds can you find in Portugal? Portuguese. Number 22. What was the most popular kids' movie in ancient Greece? Woo. What was the most popular kids' movie in ancient Greece? The answer, Troy Story. Oh, goodness me. Number 23. What is the most common scam in Egypt? What's the most common scam in Egypt? Pyramid schemes. Okay, quite like that. Number 24. What happened to the American who went to the hospital with a broken leg? He went broke. You what? What happened to the American who went to the hospital with a broken leg? He went broke. Okay. Almost not a joke. Number 25. In which country is Prague located? In which country is Prague located? Hold on, let me check. God, that's not the best. That's not the best. Let's go back through that section there. It's, you know, the way this website works is that I think this list is created by people upvoting or downvoting the jokes, right? So I think probably as we go through the list, they're going to get worse and worse because these, you know, we're getting to the jokes that people have not upvoted very much. So, an Englishman, a Scotsman and an Irishman enter a bar. Now, this is a common joke structure in the UK. An Englishman, an Irishman and a Scotsman do something. And normally, it's a bit racist, I have to say, because normally it's the Irishman who does something stupid. Right? So, the Scottish person normally does something that's kind of a bit stingy, and the Irishman does something that's a bit stupid. I'm not going to tell you any of those Englishman, Irishman and Scotsman jokes. But that's kind of the basis for this. It's a typical English, Scotsman and Irishman joke. An Englishman, a Scotsman and an Irishman enter a bar. The Englishman wanted to go, so they all had to leave. I mean, this is quite clever, I suppose. It's about the sort of democratic system in the UK, that we've got the English, the Scottish, the Welsh, of course, who are not mentioned in this joke at all, and the Irish to the extent that Northern Ireland is part of the UK. Englishmen, Scotsmen and Irishmen entered a bar. The Englishman wanted to go, so they all had to leave. So this basically means that, you know, England dominates the decision-making process in the United Kingdom. And so, to a large extent, I guess, the Welsh, the Scottish and the Irish sort of often have to follow what people in England have decided. Although that is less so these days, since we had devolution, which basically means a movement of power from Westminster in London to the different assemblies in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, where more power was given to these regions to let them sort of essentially sort of, you know, run their own affairs. Not everything, but a lot of budgeting decisions and other policy areas are now decided by the different assemblies in those regions. So there's like devolved power, but still traditionally England have always dominated the kind of decision-making process in the UK, just because it's a bigger country and there are more people, you know, more English people. So the Scots, the Irish and the Welsh sort of have to live by what the English do, what the English want, which they don't like sometimes. Number 17 is the USB joke, which we know. Number 18, why haven't Americans changed their weighing method from pounds to kilograms? Because they don't want mass confusion. Okay, so mass confusion, this is where the joke is. So mass confusion could mean like when everybody is confused. So by mass here, we mean lots and lots of people on a large scale. Mass confusion. So changing the weighing system, the measuring system, would confuse a lot of people, and so it would cause mass confusion. So they don't want mass confusion. But also mass confusion could be when people are confused about the mass of an object. And mass is not the same as weight, right? But it's similar. It's a similar concept in physics, that the mass of an object kind of similar to its weight, but it depends on things like gravity and other factors, doesn't it? Okay, mass confusion, that would be where people are confused about the mass of an object or the weight of an object because of this, the measuring system has changed. Isn't it funnier when I explain it like that, when I dissect the frog? Look, I'm wearing the t-shirt. I'm wearing the t-shirt, so I'm doing the thing. Number 19. How does every Russian joke start? This is going to be controversial with some people. How does every Russian joke start? By looking over your shoulder. So the suggestion is that in Russia... No, I didn't write this joke. The suggestion is that in Russia, if you want to make a joke, you have to just check behind you first, just to make sure that no one is like listening, that there are no kind of people monitoring you. Like, is it safe to make this joke? Depends on who you're making a joke about, right? I don't know. Do people in Russia make jokes about Vladimir Putin? Do you? I'd love to know what those jokes are. Anyway, that's what that joke is. How does every Russian joke start? You might imagine it's like a Russian, goes into a bar. But no, apparently every Russian joke starts by looking over your shoulder. Okay. And I have a Russian friend. Now, I like this one. There's nothing wrong with this. I have a Russian friend who's a sound technician and a Czech one too. A Czech one too. So, Czech one too is where the joke is. And this is what you say when you're testing a microphone. For example, at the beginning of a concert, you're preparing the stage with microphones and checking the sound. You've got someone at the back of the room with the mixing desk trying to get the levels right. And someone goes on the stage and they stand in front of the microphone and they go, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, check, 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 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And the other person with the mixing desk gets the levels correct. So check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's what you say when you're checking a microphone. But check, C-Z-E-C-H, is also the adjective for someone from the Czech Republic or Czechia, depending on how, which name you prefer. A Czech person, someone from the Czech Republic. So I have a Russian friend who is a sound technician and a Czech one too. So I've got a Russian friend who's a sound technician and I've got a Czech friend who is a sound technician too. A Czech one too. A Czech one too. Nice. 21. What kind of birds can you find in Portugal? The answer, Portuguese, which is, I'm quite happy with that joke. Portuguese is the adjective, right, for Portugal. But here we've got Portuguese. So geese, this is the plural of the word goose. A goose is a large bird that you might find on a farm with a long neck, right? Long neck, large body, long neck, and they go honk, honk, honk like that. And they can be very aggressive as well. So that's what a goose is. 1 goose, 2 geese. What kind of birds can you find in Portugal? Portuguese. Not bad. 22. This is a dodgy joke. What was the most popular kids movie in ancient Greece? Troy Story. So, not Toy Story with Buzz Lightyear and Woody and the others, but Troy Story, because of ancient Troy, you see. Helen of Troy, the Trojans, Troy Story. That's not a good joke, is it? 23. What's the most common scam in Egypt? Pyramid schemes. Quite like that. A scam is basically a trick which is designed to get your money. Okay, a trick designed to get your money. You see scammers in the street doing scams with tourists. I've talked about this before, but they'll do the cup game. Now the way it works is you've got a person with the cup game doing the cup game, and then there's like people around him, and you think those people are tourists, but they're not tourists. They are with the guy doing the scam. So they are scammers as well. So you go up, it looks like there's a little crowd around this guy doing a cup magic trick. And the guy goes, okay, which cup has the P? So there's a little P. Which cup contains the P, and he does the trick, and it's really obvious. Like the first time you see it, it's really obvious where the P is. And one of his mates, who you don't realise is one of his friends, is playing the game, and he puts his $20 down, and he points to the wrong cup. And you, as a civilian, and like not part of the trick, but just a person observing, you're like, wait a minute, no, it's definitely in the other cup. But the other guy who's pretending to be a player puts his money down and gets it wrong. And then maybe another one does it too. Plays and puts its money down and gets it wrong. And you're there going, oh, this is easy. I'm definitely going to win the money. But no, it's a scam, because they are tricking you. They're making you think it's easy. And then when it's your turn, he does something clever. And of course, you get it wrong, and he takes your money. And if you start causing a fuss, if you start saying, wait a minute, if you start making a fuss, he's got all these other guys around who will step in, right? So the whole thing is a scam. It's a trick designed to get your money. And there are different types of scam as well. Like, for example, you might get these scam emails from people saying that they are, I don't know, like whatever. Like it could be people pretending to do some kind of business deal with you, and they say, you just need to deposit some money in our account and then we'll do this, that and the other. But they're lying. It's not true. It's a scam. And one of the most common scams, arguably, is the pyramid scheme. I'm not even entirely sure how they work, but essentially it's where there's one person on the top. This person persuades two people to put money into the scheme, and then those two people persuade more people to put money in the scheme. And essentially the way it works is that you need to persuade more people below you to put money into the scheme, and the more people you have below you, the more money you get. So the person at the top is getting the most money from it. And you know, this is a pyramid scheme. It's a scam designed to basically take people's money. It's a sort of a weird sort of investment trick, a very common one, a pyramid scheme. So yeah, of course, obviously the most common scam in Egypt is pyramid schemes, of course, because they have pyramids. Well, that was hard work, wasn't it? 24. What happened to the American who went to the hospital with a broken leg? He went broke. This is really poor, this joke, because it's just trading on the fact that broken leg and broke kind of is similar. But he went broke means he ran out of money, of course. If you go broke, it means you lose all your money. And the reason is because healthcare in the United States is so expensive. So the American who went to the hospital with a broken leg, he went broke because it cost him all of his money to get his leg fixed. And in which country is Prague located? Hold on, let me check. I mean, structurally, that doesn't really work as a joke, because let me check. Let me check. I mean, basically, it's just the word check, isn't it? Again, it's the same joke as before. It's the word check. It sounds kind of, sounds like the word check and check. You see, they sound exactly the same. Let's move on to the next series of jokes. Maybe I'll go for a little bit longer. I'm not sure I'm going to do the whole 100 because that's just too much. Okay, so here are 10 more jokes. Okay, listeners? Okay, actually, before we continue, because I know you're worried, I know you're concerned about my hydration, just in case you were worried about me not drinking enough water while doing the podcast, because every now and then I get comments from people. Let me just take a nice long slug from this massive bottle. Okay, here we go. Lovely, very refreshing. Don't worry about my kidneys. They're absolutely fine. I'm fully hydrated. Right. Number 26. Is Africa by Toto a country song? No, it's a continent song. Whoa. Number 27. What did the Kiwi say to the rabbit? Whoa. What did the Kiwi say to the rabbi? Hebrew. Okay. What did the Kiwi say to the rabbi? Hebrew. Okay. Number 28. Did you hear about the Italian chef that died? Yeah, he passed away. Did you hear about the Italian chef that died? He passed away. God. Number 29. Germany once organised the International Fun Conference. It wasn't funny, but it was indeed well organised. Germany once organised the International Fun Conference. It wasn't funny, but it was certainly well organised. Number 30. Two very old men of European nationality meet. While talking, one of them asks, "You watching the football game?" The other one says, "Who's playing?" "Austria-Hungary," says the first. "Against whom?" Oh dear. Not very well written. I get the idea in the middle of it, but it's just not very well written. Two very old men of European nationality meet. While talking, one of them asks, "Are you watching the football game?" The other one says, "Who's playing?" "Austria-Hungary," says the first. "Against whom?" All right. It will be explained. 31. An introverted Finn from Finland. An introverted Finn looks at his shoes when talking to you. An extroverted Finn looks at your shoes. All right. An introverted Finn looks at his shoes when talking to you. An extroverted Finn looks at your shoes. All right. You're thinking, sorry, Luke, I don't get it. I'll explain it. Don't you worry, okay? 32. Why do bagpipe players walk while they play? Why do bagpipe players walk while they play? To get away from the noise. I quite like that. Number 33. Why do all Swedish military ships have barcodes on them? Why do all Swedish military ships have barcodes on them? So that when they come to port, they can just Scandinavian. When they come to port, they can Scandinavian. Number 34, right? Why was copper wire invented? Why was copper wire invented? Two Scotsmen fighting over a penny. How was copper wire invented? Two Scotsmen fighting over a penny. Right, I don't get that one really, I have to say. I don't really get it. How was copper wire invented? Two Scotsmen fighting over a penny. Right, I don't really get it. Anyway, number 35. What are Greek houses made of? What are Greek houses made of? And the answer is Greeks and concrete. Greeks and concrete? Okay. All right, okay, we're starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel, and we're only about 30%, 35% of the way through the entire list, and already these jokes are starting to get extremely dodgy. Okay, let's go back and explain these things. So, is Africa by Toto a country song? Do you know Africa? Africa. Dun, 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 dun. You know that one? Africa by Toto. Is that a country song? Meaning country like country music? No, it's a continent song. Africa, you see, because Africa's a continent, not a country. Okay, moving on. Number 27. What did the Kiwi say to the rabbi? Hebrew. Okay, now this one is a little bit sophisticated, and it's not rude, it's not offensive, there's nothing offensive about it. It's really based on the New Zealand accent. So a Kiwi is a person from New Zealand, right? They're called Kiwis. People from Australia are called Aussies, and people from New Zealand are called Kiwis, right? And in New Zealand, they've got a particular accent. So Hebrew is a bit like saying, hi, hey bro, Hebrew. Sounds a bit like what a Kiwi, when a Kiwi says, hey bro, it sounds like Hebrew. And Hebrew, of course, is a language that a rabbi might be able to speak. So what did the Kiwi say to the rabbi? Hebrew. Okay. I don't know why someone would say Hebrew to a rabbi. I understand why someone would say, hey, bro, to a rabbi, but why would someone say Hebrew to a rabbi? I don't know. But anyway, that's the joke, right? That hey, bro, said in a New Zealand accent sounds a bit like Hebrew, which is obviously a language. Yes. Okay. All right. Number 28. Did you hear about the Italian chef that died? Yeah, he passed away. Right, the Italian chef that died. He pasta, obviously that famous Italian food. He passed away. It's like saying he passed away, but in a different accent could sound like he passed away. Right? And he passed away means he died. To pass away is another way of saying to die. So he passed away, meaning he died, but, pasta. Right? Okay. Number 29, here's a kind of a German cliche joke. Germany once organised the International Fun Conference. It wasn't funny, but it was indeed well organised. Because obviously the Germans are known for being well organised, but not having a sense of humour. Is that fair? Is that true? I don't know. You can tell me, right, in your experience, if you're German. What do you think? Is it fair to say that Germans don't have a sense of humour? Or is this just, is there any justification to that claim? The International Fun Conference organised in Germany. It wasn't funny, but it was well organised. So fun means enjoyment. Funny, if something's funny, it makes you laugh. Just to clarify the difference between those two commonly confused words. Fun means it's just enjoyable, like a game, like a good game of like table tennis is fun. And funny is something that makes you laugh, like a good joke. Anyway, number 30. Okay, this is the Austria-Hungary one. Two very old men of European nationality meet. While talking, one of them says, are you watching the football game? Who's playing? Austria-Hungary against whom? So this is a reference to the old days in Europe where the Austria-Hungarian Empire, Austria-Hungary versus other nations. So, in fact, the football game is Austria versus Hungary, right? This is it. These are the two teams. But this old man misunderstands. He thinks it's Austria-Hungary as one team versus someone else. Okay. 31. An introverted Finn. So this is about people from Finland. Apparently people in Finland are quite introverted. I wasn't aware of this really. Sort of, maybe. But apparently Finnish people are quite introverted. And if you're introverted, you might look down, look at your shoes, look at the ground, right? If you're introverted. So an introverted Finn looks at his shoes when talking to you. An extroverted Finn looks at your shoes. So that's the only difference between introverted and extroverted, is just looking a little bit further towards the person you're talking to, but still looking down at the ground. So even an extroverted Finn is still very introverted by most people's standards. Introverted Finns look down here. Extroverted Finns are still not very extroverted. They just look a little bit further up, but not that much. 32. Why do bagpipe players walk while they play? I like this joke. Bagpipes, these Scottish, maybe Irish as well, maybe other places play the bagpipes, but I think they're most famous in Scotland. That's not a fair representation of what the bagpipes actually sound like. But these it's like a bag with these pipes that stick out of it. You either blow air into it or you squeeze it to make it work, and then you play sort of notes on the pipes that come out of the bag. Scotland, right? Why do bagpipe players walk while they play? To get away from the noise. I quite like that idea that they walk while they play to try and escape the noise. Quite funny. 33. Why do all Swedish military ships have barcodes on them? Military ships, right? The Navy is the sort of military force that's on the water in ships. They have barcodes on them, apparently. A barcode is a thing that you scan, beep at the supermarket. For example, I've got some cream here and there's a barcode on the side. When you beep items at the checkout in the supermarket, you beep the barcode, right? You scan the barcode. So why do Swedish military ships have barcodes on them? So when they come to port, meaning when they arrive, they can just Scandinavian. They can scan, beep, beep, beep. They can scan the Navy in. As the boats come in, beep, there's one boat. Beep, there's another boat. Beep, Scandinavian. Scandinavian is the adjective for people from that region of the world, right? Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark. Finland, are they included? Anyway, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Scandinavia, the adjective Scandinavian. When the boats come in, they can beep, beep, they can Scandinavian. Oh my goodness me. We're going to have to stop soon. I'm almost getting full here in terms of like the level of humour I can stand in this one single session. Number 34. I don't really understand this, but anyway, how was copper wire invented? Two Scotsmen fighting over a penny. This strikes me as being a very old-fashioned joke. I think I do understand it, really. So the idea is, first of all, that Scottish people are known for being tight-fisted or stingy, and that they would fight over a copper coin, right? Those brown coins are made of copper. Copper wire is electrical cable, also made of copper, because it sort of conducts electricity very well. Copper wire was invented, two Scotsmen fighting over a penny. I suppose one Scotsman was holding onto one side of the penny, the other Scotsman holding onto the other side of the penny, and they were pulling and pulling and pulling, and they pulled so hard it stretched out into a wire. Okay. 35. What are Greek houses made of? Greeks and concrete? I don't get that at all. I mean, I understand concrete because Crete is an island, isn't it? It's an island off the coast of Greece, the largest of the Greek islands, right? What are Greek houses made of? Concrete? Oh, that's just such a terrible joke that I don't really need to spend any time on it. But how can the houses be made of Greeks? Am I missing something here? They don't use Greek people to make their houses. Concrete, I get that. Concrete is obviously a building material, and Crete is a Greek island, but it doesn't work, does it? No, it doesn't. Let's keep going a little bit further, and then we're going to wrap this up. Okay, everybody? Why is it hard to make friends in Antarctica? Why is it hard to make friends in Antarctica? Because you just can't break the ice. Number 37. What pan is the best to make sushi in? What pan, like pan in the kitchen, is the best to make sushi in? Japan. Oh, God. 38. What will an Australian chess player... Okay, what will an Australian chess player say to a Czech person while making the winning move? Checkmate. An Australian person is playing chess with someone from the Czech Republic. The Australian's about to make their winning move. They say checkmate. Oh, God. All right, number 39. A friend in Germany tells me everyone's panic buying sausages and cheese. It's the worst case scenario. Oh, my God. Everyone is panic buying sausages and cheese. It's the worst case scenario. Okay. What do you call a bunch of bullies from Malta? What do you call a bunch of bullies or a group of bullies from Malta? Maltesers. Okay, you're not going to get that, but I'll explain that. Don't you worry. Number 41. Ever since my girlfriend moved to Siberia, things haven't been the same. She's so cold and distant. Ever since my girlfriend moved to Siberia, things haven't been the same. She's so cold and distant. Quite like that. 42. The Sahara Desert drifts into a bar, and the bartender says, long time no see. The Sahara Desert drifts into a bar, and the bartender says, long time no see. Quite like that one. Did you hear about the Pole? I suppose this is someone from Poland. Did you hear about the Pole who thought his wife was trying to kill him? On her dressing table, he found a bottle of Polish remover. Oh. Okay. Did you hear about the Pole who thought his wife was trying to kill him? On her dressing table, he found a bottle of Polish, or should that be Polish remover? Ouch. Number 44. I've heard that Argentina is starting to get a little colder. In fact, it's bordering on chilly. That's good. I like that. I've heard that Argentina is starting to get a little colder. In fact, it's bordering on chilly. Okay. Number 45. What is Santa's nationality? And the answer is he's North Polish. Let's do 2 more, so that then I can put in the title of the episode 47 country jokes. Because we like random odd numbers in episode titles. For some reason, a number like 47 is a lot more clickbaity than like 45 or 46. 47, for some reason, is a more effective number to put in the title of an episode. Those weird odd numbers just seem to work. I don't know why. So, number 46. What genre are national anthems? What genre of music are national anthems? Country, of course. And number 47. Did you hear McDonald's will stop serving fries in Switzerland? McDonald's are going to stop serving fries in Switzerland. Yeah, because the Swiss don't take sides. All right, let me go back through this final section here and explain those things. Okay, so why is it hard to make friends in Antarctica? Because you can't break the ice. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think you understand, right? To break the ice, meaning to do something to make a social situation a bit more comfortable. For example, tell a little joke or start a conversation or maybe have a drink or something just to break the ice at a party. That's how you get to know someone and then make friends with them. But in Antarctica, you can't break the ice because the ice is too thick and it's too cold. You can't break the ice. That's why you can't make friends there. Not bad. What pan is the best to make sushi in? Japan. Okay, that's quite terrible, isn't it, really? Because you don't make sushi in a pan. A pan is what you would use to fry something in, to make an omelette in a pan. But you don't make sushi in a pan, so it doesn't really work. But I suppose Japan, yeah, it's not bad. What pan is the best to make sushi in? Japan. Yeah, all right. Number 38. What will an Australian chess player say to a Czech person while making the winning move? The answer, checkmate. So checkmate is obviously what you say in chess. When you got to that situation where the opposing player's king can't escape, it's checkmate. But here, check, obviously, again, this is the third time we've had this. Checkmate, Czech meaning Czech Republic. And mate is something that Australian people say. G'day, mate. How you going, mate? Okay, so you're recording a podcast, are you, mate? Mate, right, meaning friend. So checkmate. Voila. 39. A friend in Germany tells me everyone's panic buying sausages and cheese. It's a worst case scenario. I don't know if worst case are pronounced in that way in Germany, in German. But basically, Wurst, is it Käse? I don't know. But anyway, worst case actually means sausage and cheese. Wurst is a kind of sausage, and case or Käse, I don't know, is a kind of cheese, apparently. So it's a worst case scenario. Because these are types of German sausage and cheese, worst case. So it's a worst case scenario. How do I explain that? The worst case scenario is like a situation which is like the worst possible case. For example, I don't know, let's say you're in a business meeting and someone has said, look, our supplier is going out of business. And this could be really bad for us because, they're our main supplier. So we need to look at the options. And someone says, okay, well, what is the worst case scenario here if the supplier does go out of business? And the worst case scenario would be, well, we can't actually get any supplies of our products, so we would have to cease production. It's a terrible, it'd be the end of the company. That's the worst case scenario, the worst possible scenario. Okay, so in this case, a friend in Germany tells me everyone is panic buying sausages and cheese. You would panic buy when you're like concerned that the supplies are low. For example, during COVID, or just before COVID lockdown happened, people started panic buying certain things in the supermarket, especially toilet paper, for understandable reasons. People were afraid they wouldn't be able to get toilet paper. They were scared that the pandemic was going to, be such a problem that you wouldn't be able to get these important items. So people were panic buying products like toilet paper. Like, quick, get all the toilet paper. In a panic, quick, get these things, quick, tinned fruits, tinned vegetables and things, toilet paper, panic buying. Yeah, in this case, panic buying sausages and cheese is the worst case scenario, because worst in case are German sausage and cheese brands. Yeah, it's not very good, is it, really, that one? What do you call a bunch of bullies? A group of bullies from Malta. Bullies are people who will pick on you, especially at school, like pick on you, tease you. Right? Teasing is a synonym of bullying, although bullying is actually more serious, but they're kind of similar. Teasing someone, nah, you look stupid, or whatever it is. The sort of things that kids do at school. Teasing other kids or bullying other kids. So a group of bullies from Malta, Maltesers. Now Maltesers are also it's also a brand of of chocolates. I don't know if you know that. Maltesers, a very popular common brand of sort of like I don't know what they are really. Chocolate balls. Let's just call them that. Maltesers. People from Malta who tease people. Yeah, not very good. Number 41. Ever since my girlfriend moved to... I like this joke. Ever since my girlfriend moved to Siberia, things just haven't been the same. She's so cold and distant. Yeah, because she's in Siberia. Because Siberia is known for being very cold and very far away. So it's cold. She's cold and distant. Yeah, she's in Siberia. But it's also... It's the sort of thing you would say about your girlfriend if you feel like she doesn't love you anymore. She's emotionally cold and emotionally distant. It's like, what's the matter? What's the matter? You've been so cold and distant recently. What's going on? Well, I'm in Siberia, so, number 42. 42. I don't know why I said that in a Northern Irish accent. The Sahara Desert drifts into a bar and the bartender says, "Long time no see." Woo, okay. So this is the sort of thing a barman, the person working in the bar, cleaning the glasses, serving the drinks, he would say that to someone like a customer who comes into the bar. If they haven't seen this customer in that bar for a long time, you might say, "Oh, a long time no see. How are you?" But in this case, it's the Sahara Desert that has drifted into the bar. And the barman says, "Long time no see," meaning sea like ocean, because it's a desert. So it's been a long time since this was an ocean. It's been a long time since the Sahara Desert was the sea, because, once upon a time, the Sahara Desert was at the bottom of an ocean, right? That's how the desert was formed. Long time no see. And it's been a long time since you were the sea, or it's been a long time since you saw the sea. It works better on paper, I think, that one. Number 43. Did you hear about the Pole who thought his wife was trying to kill him? On her dressing table, he found a bottle of polish remover. Okay, polish remover is what it should be. Nail polish. So nail polish is something that you can put on your nails to make them look all shiny. You might add different colours. Nail varnish or nail polish. You paint it onto your nails, on your fingers, your fingernails, to make them look nice. And then when you want to remove that, you need a product called polish remover, and you put that onto a cotton pad and you wipe the nail polish off with the polish remover. Polish and Polish, these are, words that have the same spelling, right? Homographs. So both spelt the same way, Polish and Polish. Polish meaning the adjective from a person from Poland. So Polish remover, he thought that his wife was trying to kill him. She was trying to remove the Polish person. Okay, not the strongest in the list. And number 44, I like this one a lot. I've heard that Argentina is starting to get a little colder, like the temperature in Argentina is going down. In fact, it's bordering on chilly. So if you say that something is bordering on something, it means it's nearly something. So, it's a bit cold, isn't it? Yeah, it's bordering on chilly in here, meaning it's almost chilly. You see? But in this case, Argentina literally does border Chile. It's bordering on Chile. Chile, the country. Meaning that they're very, they share a border. So Argentina is bordering on Chile in the sense that it's the neighbouring country, but apparently it's also getting a little bit colder. In fact, it's bordering on Chile. It's almost chilly. Chilly, Chilly, means cold, right? Oh, it's a bit chilly, isn't it? I need to put a sweater on. 45, Santa's nationality. Father Christmas's nationality, he's North Polish, because he's from the North Pole. 46, what genre are national anthems? They're country. So here we go again. Country is a genre of music, right? Country's associated with the United States. Country music, like the music of cowboys and stuff. National anthems are country music, essentially, because, they're anthems of different countries. 47, did you hear McDonald's will stop serving fries in Switzerland? Yeah, because the Swiss don't take sides. In wars, as we've seen, especially like the Second World War, the Swiss were neutral. They didn't take sides. Right? They didn't support one side over the other. They were neutral, so they didn't take sides. But sides can also mean side dishes for your food, like a side of French fries. McDonald's in Switzerland are going to stop serving fries because the Swiss don't take sides. Yeah, okay, listeners. There you go. We got to number 47 in the list. And that is where we're going to end this. But you know what I do need to do is, as I said before, I need to just quickly recap some of the vocab. Right? So let's see if I can do that for you now, quickly. Okay, so I've now created a list of vocab items that have come up in this episode. Let me just fly through them quickly. So a kidney bank, remember the kidneys, those two organs which you might need to be replaced, right? If you lose one, you can still survive with the other one. Kidneys. And a kidney bank is a place where, they might keep kidneys for these sorts of operations. Liver, your liver is another organ responsible for producing blood in your body. Actually, I've realised that the liver doesn't make blood exactly as I've said in this episode now twice. I need to fact check that. The liver, it filters all of the blood in the body and breaks down poisonous substances that might be in the blood, including alcohol. But the liver also produces bile, which is another fluid in the body. Bile helps to digest fats and carry away waste. So there you go, that's the liver. It regulates and filters the blood, breaks down poisonous things in the blood, and produces that lovely fluid, one of our favourite fluids, bile. What about kidneys? While we're at it, what do kidneys do? The main job of the kidneys is to remove waste from the blood and return the cleaned blood back to the body. Each minute, about 1 litre of blood, that's 1/5 of all the blood pumped by the heart, enters the kidneys through the renal arteries. So there you go, the kidneys and the liver. That's the liver. So we've got the kidneys and the liver. Next, a criminal record. A criminal record. So if you've committed a crime, you got charged for it, maybe you were punished for it, whatever, that you went to court, the judge sentenced you to you were convicted of the crime, you would then have a criminal record, right, which would be checked, if you're entering a country or something like that, a criminal record. A flag is a big The flag is a big plus. So a big plus. A plus meaning an advantage or a positive point. Okay? For example, life in Paris, well, the food is definitely a big plus. Snails, right? These little creatures that go very slowly and they carry their shell on their back. Snails. I can't complain. How are you doing? Oh, not bad, can't complain. Mustn't grumble. Right? To double in size is number 7. The verb is to double, meaning to increase by 100%. Right? Double in size. It doubled in size over the last 2 years. Our market share doubled. In fact, it's tripled, it's quadrupled over the last 3 quarters. The Loch Ness Monster, which I mentioned, this kind of funny myth that there's a monster living in a lake in Scotland. Have you ever heard about it? A couple of insects, bees and flies. Bees are the ones that make honey. Flies are the ones that just fly around in your room, making triangles and smashing their head against the glass for no good reason. And then landing and just doing this, like rubbing their 2 hands together like that. And then like wiping the massive eyes and then just flying around again, making more triangles. Mass confusion. This is like everyone's confused. Chaos. Mass confusion. That's mass confusion. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Remember that? If you ever have to check a microphone in English, that's what you say. Check 1 2 1 2. Testing. Number 12. Animals. Goose. Remember? Let's see if I can get a picture of a goose. Oh, look, there's a classic goose for you. Classic white farmyard goose. So it's 1 goose and 2 geese, right? So plural is geese, singular goose. A scam, like a trick designed to get your money, like those people scamming in the street, or it could be a scam where someone tries to get into your house, or a scam where someone tries to get money from you and they're tricking you. For example, a pyramid scheme, which is one of these organised ways in which people sort of like, I don't really understand exactly how it works. Pyramid scheme. Okay, according to New York State Attorney General, a pyramid scheme is a fraudulent system of making money based on recruiting an ever-increasing number of investors. The initial promoters recruit investors who in turn recruit more investors and so on. The scheme is called a pyramid because at each level the number of investors increases. Are you aware of that? Have you ever heard of a pyramid scheme? Anyway, a common type of sort of investment scam, basically. To go broke, that's when you've run out of money, right? I'm broke, I haven't got any money. To pass away is another way of saying to die. Phrasal verb. Barcodes, these are these little codes that you get on the sides of products in shops, and beep, beep, you scan barcodes. A pan, like a saucepan or a frying pan, something you'd use in the kitchen to cook. A worst case scenario is like a situation that the worst possible potential situation. So in a business meeting, you might talk about, well, the worst case scenario is that our company completely fails. And the best case scenario is like the best possible outcome. Worst case scenario, the worst possible outcome. To bully someone or to tease someone is essentially to harass someone. Normally it's in a school environment. So, like kids get bullied, or other kids bully other children. Like when I was a kid at school, we had one of my friends got bullied so much that he had to leave the school. It was really bad. It got to the point where there were bullies waiting for him at the school gates at the end of the day, and they would beat him up, like punch him and stuff, and steal things from him, steal his lunch money, steal his lunch and things like that, and just generally make his life a living hell. Those were bullies. That's to bully someone. To tease someone is slightly less serious, and it's just to make fun of someone, like maybe making comments to mock someone, That's to tease and to bully. To be cold and distant, it's if someone is like emotionally cold and distant, and physically cold and distant as well, like if you're living in Siberia. 22, nail polish remover. right? That product that you would use to remove nail polish from your nails, not to remove a Polish person from your life, but polish. Polish is the stuff that goes on your nails, and Polish is the adjective for someone from Poland. It's bordering on chilly. Yeah, it's kind of cold in here. Yeah, in fact, it's bordering on chilly, meaning it's almost chilly. Bordering on lots of other things. What did you think of those jokes? Well, some of them were all right, but some of them were bordering on like racist, to be honest with you. Meaning almost racist. I don't think that's the case in this list, as far as I can see. And a side order, or a side of salad, a side of French fries. Okay, there you go. Just a little bit of vocab. And that's the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed this, folks. Let me know in the comments section which jokes or which joke did you enjoy? Do you have any other jokes that you can think of about countries? I've got a few others, but maybe I'll save those for another time. Leave your comments down below. Which jokes did you like? Which ones did you get? Which ones did you not really get? And do you have any other jokes that you can share? It's always nice to read your comments. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. I will speak to you again on the podcast soon. But for now, it's just time to say goodbye. Bye, 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 bye.